The #1 show that dominates cable news, The O'Reilly Factor.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in a personal story segment tonight. It has been difficult for the liberal talk radio people to get any traction in the USA. Air America is still having major problems, didn't do well this fall in New York City, and around the country, right-wing yackers continue to dominate. Joining us now from Fargo, North Dakota, is a man some rebels think is going to change all that. Ed Schultz is currently heard on 70 radio stations and is the author of the book Straight Talk from the Heartland, Tough Talk, Common Sense, and Hope from a former conservative. Now, Mr. Schultz, your program is funded by Democracy Radio, which has close ties to the Democratic Party. In fact, our pal Senator Landrieu in Louisiana actually did a fundraiser, raised money for Democracy Radio. Is that a conflict of interest or anything, that you work for, almost a political party arm?
Not really, Bill. In fact, it isn't at all. These are all private donations from people next door, so to speak, who want to get involved and change the landscape of political talk radio in America. So it's not tax dollars. These are people who are progressives, liberals, who think that their message isn't being heard. And I signed on to it a year ago when I was convinced that we were going to have an opportunity to make a change and be funded for a couple of years.
Okay, but if your organization that's funding you is close to the Democratic Party, aren't you hamstrung then by party politics?
No, I'm not hamstrung. I had it written in my deal that I wasn't going to be beholden to anybody. I've got total freedom of editorial content. There have been situations that have come up that I've actually opposed the Democrats on some issues and taken actually some middle-of-the-road positions on some things. So it's not tax dollars at all. It never has been, never will be. I would have never signed on to something like that.
Right, so the difference between
and I'm not anybody's mouthpiece.
Right. The difference between you and Armstrong Williams is that was tax money coming from the Department of Education. Yours are private donations.
That's exactly.
Now, why did you change from being a conservative to a liberal?
Well, it's been a series of things over the last 7 years, actually. Back in 1998, when I met my wife here in Fargo, she was a manager of the homeless clinic, and the first date we had, she told me I had to pick her up at the Salvation Army, and that's where we were having lunch. And I had been pretty tough on the homeless and been pretty tough on those that could be termed as downtrodden, and was a conservative at the time, and went in and had my eyes open that there were a lot of Vietnam veterans in that homeless clinic, and started to talk to them. They recognized me, and that was the first really eye-opening event. Then I went into, did some research on veterans benefits, saw that we really were morally not doing what we should do there. Then I took my motorhome all across the region and talked to a lot of farmers and ranchers and small town problems. And I just thought, this isn't right. The Democrats are correct on the issues, and I'm a Democrat. And I professed that on the air in 2000.
In the middle of your conversion, President Clinton was in office. So, I mean,
he was.
All of these things were happening under a Democratic administration entrenched for 8 years, maybe.
That's right.
So what are you blaming the Republicans for?
Well, I was pretty tough. Well, Bill Clinton, you can't fault him for the economy that they had, and he had his priorities right as far as
I know, but your conversion came. You were seeing things that obviously are wrong. Nobody wants anybody in a homeless shelter, and nobody wants veterans not to get benefits. But your vision or conversion happened under a Democratic president who didn't correct those things.
Well, I believe he did attempt to correct those things. He was working with a Republican Congress. I think that the country has moved hard to the right, and I think that the neocon agenda right now that's going on is dangerous. I don't align myself with what the conservatives stand for right now. I am a liberal on many issues, and I've changed. And it's been a series of events that have happened with me in the broadcast business that have brought me to where I am, and so I'm very proud.
We respect everybody's heart, if they're sincerely held. The problem that we have is with the secular progressive agenda that wants to change the country. There's a split in the Democratic Party, as you know. I mean, you got the moderate Lieberman by Democrats, and then you got the far left Kennedy people. We talked about that topic program. But you're against abortion, so you bang up with the progressives there. You're pro-gun control. You bang up with them there. Are you a by Democrat or a Kennedy Democrat?
Well, I don't think you can pigeonhole the Democratic Party into the corner saying that you have to accept the entire platform. I don't. When it comes to defending the country, when it comes to feeding the country, when it comes to education and a strong fiscal policy, the Democrats have got it right, and I'm with them all the way on that. I do own shotguns. My boys own shotguns. We hunt all the time, but I don't think my next-door neighbor needs a bazooka or an AK-47. I'm for reasonable gun control. I'm for giving law enforcement all the tools they need to do the job. Now, as far as abortion is concerned, in my heart, I'm a Christian. I'm against it. But we're living in a country where the majority rules, and I'm not, as a talk show host, going to overturn Roe v. Wade.
All right, but you're not also going to support partial birth abortion, and then you're going to go right up against the progressive agenda, which is, well, you know, if you don't do that, you're out. You're out of the tent.
Well, you know, look, you can't say that I have to be in the tent for everything. That's the problem with America right now, Bill, is we've lost the middle of the road.
I don't want him to pull a plug. I don't want him to pull a plug on your money, man. Then you'll have to, you know, you have to be like me, you know, in a free marketplace. All right, now look.
It's a free market now, Bill.
Oh, I am. I mean, I make a living by my wits, which is,
But wait a second. I want to make it very clear that Democracy Radio is not purchasing any markets for Ed Schultz.
No, but you're depending on people to support your enterprise where we are, advertising driven. Now, look.
Well, no, wait a minute. We're advertising driven too, Bill. That's not wrong. This is seed money to an LLC.
You know how Air America and these people are staying on the air. They're getting big money.
Venture. Bill, this is a private venture. It's an LLC. It's private money starting up a business.
Okay, but no politicians raising money for the Fox News channel. Not happening. That's the point I'm trying to make. One more question.
Well, we don't know that.
One more question for you. Well, you don't know it, but I know it because I work here, and what I say is true. So, how are you going to cut through? I mean, how are you going to become the left-wing Limbaugh? How is it going to happen? It's never happened in this country.
Well, Bill, they tried the wrong people. That's the bottom line. It's got to be a good radio show. It's got to be entertaining. You got to have personality, activity, communication, entertainment. I mean, it just can't be the hate Bush agenda isn't going to work with listeners.
No, that's true.
I really do believe that my show is off and running. We started on 2 stations. We're on 70. We've got a lot more major markets coming on. We're in 6 of 10 of the top markets, 14 of the top 25. We have made phenomenal success and strides in the first year.
All right, Mr. Schultz, and we wish you the best. We appreciate you coming on and kicking it around with us. Thank you very much. In a moment, Prince Harry, Diana's son, wears a Nazi uniform. I say, might not be good form. Cheerio. We'll be right back with it.